Hey guys, Dougie B here. Happy Wednesday. Doing a special here called What If. Good week to do it. Tommy's probably feeling pretty beat up. Fantasy has been pretty unfair to him lately. So what a better week. So basically, I asked you guys in the group chat to tap into your draft day minds, not using your hindsight to tell me who on draft day you really missed out on, and yeah, making an interesting little thing. I'll show you right now. So before I start going through this list, I'll basically show you my ideas. Asked everybody their name that's up top. So here, Dave, for example, picked Javonte Williams. And next to that, in parentheses, you'll see where he would have picked Javonte if he didn't go earlier to Peo, which is the actual pick underneath. Dave then picked TJ Hawkinson instead. And I went weeks 1 through 8, went through and figured out their wins above replacement. It was a little bit hard for players that were picked from different positions. For instance, it was a lot easier to do Biggie's because he picked a wide receiver in place of a wide receiver, whereas Carey picked a running back in place of a wide receiver. But there's ways to get around everything. I figured it all out. So, yes, Dave got Javonte stolen from him. Peo ended up grabbing him, I guess, trading him away to Butchie because Butchie loves that guy. And you can see here, Dave had 1 win above replacement. Dave no longer owns TJ Hawkinson. He basically turned him into Michael Carter, Herbert, and OBJ. So kind of a win for him. Next, we're going to go down to Carey, who actually had the biggest wins above replacement. He wanted Cooper Kupp. I took him a pick before him. He instead drafted Mike Davis, and this is pretty easy to figure out for Carey. I used his flex basically as the biggest replacement, and Carey had 3 wins with Cooper. Oddly enough, Biggie also wanted the same guy. And on draft day, he actually told me we talked about it in the parking lot. I told him I think Biggie wanted to get him in round 3. I said, I think he's a round 4th pick, but I'm going to go after him, and I did. So Biggie drafted DJ Moore instead. Biggie actually would have lost 1 because of Cooper Kupp, but also would have won 1. Interesting. D-Fran wanted Jamar Chase, who ended up going to Peo, 4 picks in front of him. This is difficult to figure out just because Aaron Rodgers is a QB. So what I did was I assumed that the average starting QB was worth about 22 points a week. The 1 win for D-Fran was week 1. That was easy to figure out because Rodgers only scored like 1.2 points. I don't remember the second week, but pretty easy to figure out there. Yeah, that would be huge for D-Fran. Peo wanted DeAndre Swift. Instead, he got Julio Jones. 0 wins above replacement. Now, you guys are going to see these. It's pretty funny how much better of a player or worse of a player you could have wanted, but still it could have 0 impact on your record. So let's see. Let's scroll down. Tommy's next. He wanted Lamar Jackson. This is a little bit hard to figure out, but luckily Tommy made it easy on me because the very next round he ended up picking Dak. So really I just changed out Lamar's score with Dak's to see if he would have won or lost. Obviously Michael Thomas not even playing a snap this year. Now, my assumption is that Mike Thomas would have been there the next round where he actually took Dak. So it would have been pretty much equal. So Tommy lost 1, won 1. And that's how we get to blank. Rob wanted Travis Kelce. He would have had to get him 2nd round, 5th pick. Kind of a stretch here, but I give him the benefit of the doubt because I don't think Rob would have wanted him 8th. I mean, he picked Jonathan Taylor, which he's a stud. Instead, Rob ended up picking Calvin Ridley. Whew. 1 win above replacement. And again, you'll see here that 1 win doesn't sound like much, but the rest of the season, obviously, that's huge. Chad wanted Austin Eckler. And I honestly would have thought he'd get him there in round 1 at the end of the draft. I didn't really pay attention to him much. But instead, he got Travis Kelce, 1 win above replacement. Travis Kelce was another hard one. His point totals are kind of hard to replicate, so I assumed that any tight end other than Travis Kelce that Chad drafted would have scored an average of 10 points a week. Clarky, he was the lone guy who gave me a player's name who went right after picking him. The reason I put this in red, Clarky would have had to wait like another 18 picks or something to get Antonio Brown again. Zach ended up getting Antonio Brown instead, so Clarky took Sony Michel. Oddly enough, now, again, different position players, so I used Clarky's flex position mostly as a token of measurement, and actually 0 wins above replacement. For me, now when I picked the 3rd overall pick, I was first to pick. I was almost 100% sure I was going to get Henry. When Biggie took him, I was demoralized. And I followed this pretty much every game. By the 5th week of the season, I would have been 4-1 if I had Henry. Obviously, now I'm glad to have had Kamara instead. And the last 2 weeks, I would have actually lost with Henry on my roster instead of Kamara. So, can't be mad about that. Zach, he wanted Devontae Smith. He ended up getting Antonio Brown instead, which I'd be much happier with. But 0 wins above replacement. So, just a little... I hope you guys had fun with this. Honestly, I thought for sure that there'd be a way bigger impact on wins above replacement. But either way, this kind of goes to show you guys that if you really love somebody, it's usually not a bad idea to go get them. Now, obviously, when I ask these questions, it's hard for you guys to fully commit to hindsight. Like, D-Fran's case, like Jamar Chase, yeah, there might have been somebody else he wanted even more than Jamar, but Jamar now sounds super sexy, obviously. It's hard to put yourself back into what we're thinking in late August. But in any case, obviously you guys can see usually wins above replacement is higher based on the guy you wanted. So if you want him, get him. I honestly wish I never talked to Biggie in the parking lot, because if Biggie would have took him round 3, Cooper Kupp I'm talking about, then he'd be much better off. Whether he would have or not, we'll never know. Yeah, oh man. Some of these are doozies. Sony Michel, Mike Davis, Calvin Ridley. You could throw Julio Jones in there, and Mike Thomas. That's what we're working with, boys. All right, hope you enjoyed. Think of some other cool ideas. See you.